Brexit bin Habib lashed out at the EU and demanded the UK refuse to compromise in the trade deal negotiations with the Brussels bloc. Former Brexit Party MEP bin Habib argued the UK cannot compromise on its red lines in the trade talks with the EU. While speaking with Belinda de Lucy from Brexit Unlocked, he urged Boris Johnson to stand firm in talks. Ms. de Lucy said, "So I've noticed a few tweets from some very strong Brexiteers recently saying, well, is it all that bad if we compromise a little bit on state aid? To me, it's a way the EU can keep its tentacles around our economy. This is because I don't think they'll use it in good faith. How can you explain how these compromises will be bad for the UK, in the long term, if Boris does buckle on state aid?" Mr. Habib insisted the UK should remain strong and focus on its goal of being completely separate from the EU. He said, "When people talk about making a compromise in a deal, that's around the edges of the grey areas of the deal. But actually, the key issues here, what we're fighting for here is our sovereignty. We're not fighting for an extra bit of tariff, perhaps, or, greater access to their fishing. We're fighting, actually, for our sovereignty, and there can be no compromise on taking back control." Boris promised he would take back control on all of our laws, our borders, our cash and our fishing. Despite previously praising Sir David Frost, Mr. Habib warned about a statement made by the negotiator. Mr. Habib said, "That is, and you cannot compromise on that. I heard David Frost a couple of months ago saying, well, we might have to compromise on 40% of our red lines. Well, which bit of sovereignty do you want to give away? Which part of the United Kingdom do you want to hand over to the European Union?" It comes as Brexit talks enter the 9th stage of negotiations this week between the UK and EU. Ahead of talks, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's spokesman said in London that Britain's focus was on progress in trade talks. Although the last 2 weeks of informal talks have been relatively positive, there remains much to be done, he said. "We simply want the standard free trade agreement. We continue to be asked to accept provisions that do not reflect the reality of our status as an independent country.